Hi, I'm Adam Simha, the knife maker and designer at MKS Design in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Today I'd like to talk about how to choose and buy knives for your kitchen. Now, a chef's knife and a paring knife that you like are probably the two knives you're going to need and help you accomplish 99% of the things you'll be up against in the kitchen. If you do find yourself wanting to take apart fowl or meat or fish, then certainly a boning knife or a fillet knife will come in handy. If you like to cut long, thin strips of things, then by all means, get a long, thin slicer. A lot of people like a serrated knife for bread, which is fine, but I wouldn't spend a whole lot of money on that. Now, with a few exceptions, practically all knives are made of steel. Without going into too much detail, steel is basically iron plus carbon. The way it comes from the mill, it looks like this. Now, this piece of steel, on its way to becoming a knife, takes a lot of steps. Each one of them is important, and each one of them is relevant to whether that knife is the best knife for you. A few common misconceptions. First, the amount of carbon in a knife makes it better. The amount of carbon in a knife has only to do with how hard that knife can be made, not how hard it is. The process of making a knife hard is called heat treating, and it's something that, if done well, can make that knife fantastic. If done badly, can give you a knife that performs poorly and even breaks. Second misconception, that a forged knife is better than a stamped or cut knife. The process of hand forging a knife at the anvil by a trained and experienced bladesmith can confer incredible properties on that knife. But a factory forging is just an efficient way of creating a particular shape, and it really confers no extra advantage over a cut or stamped knife at all. Now, the profile of a knife has to do with the shape of the blade. Whether you prefer something more traditionally Western in shape or something more Asian like this santoku is really a matter of preference and has as much to do with what you'll be up against in the kitchen as to the style of cutting that you prefer. A deeper, shorter blade like this santoku might be better for dicing and chopping, while a longer, shallower blade like this might be better for slicing. European-style knives tend to have a significant taper from tip to handle, getting thicker near the handle, whereas Asian knives tend to be thin all the way back. A lighter, thinner knife will move through food very easily, and because it's probably harder, will need to be honed and sharpened less often. On the other hand, when it does need to be sharpened, that'll be more difficult, and it will be more prone to chipping or cracking if mishandled. A heftier knife that's less hard will need more frequent honing and sharpening, but its own weight will help it move through food, and it will be less delicate and less likely to get damaged if something happens. When considering a knife, think about what you do with it most. Will you be mincing chives or cutting paper-thin slices of tuna? Or will you be breaking down chickens and smashing walnuts? Whichever way you come down, make sure that when you go into a store to try out a knife, you don't just pick it up and hold it for weight and balance, but that you actually hold it and move it the way you would if you were cooking in your own kitchen. Once again, it all comes down to preference. You may appreciate the finesse of a light knife and be prepared to put in the extra effort it takes to clean, maintain, and sharpen it. Or you may want a knife that you feel like you can go after anything with and it won't ever let you down. Buy the best knife you can afford that feels right to you. If anything about it bugs you, don't buy it. There might be no one right answer or no one perfect knife, but there probably is one out there that's just right for you.